It's a blessing to be back on the Talk of Life talk show with Elma.
Yes.
And that is me.
Yes.
We have Linda on this end. We have Cynthia. We have Kimberly. And I will introduce our special guest in a few minutes. But before we start, I want everyone to know in the Facebook and YouTube that we are a Christian-based talk show. And we are capable of handling anyone on this show if you are brave enough to come on the show. All right, we start with our scripture, Philippians 1:6. Being confident of this one very thing, that he which has begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. So tonight we're blessed to have with us Mr. Dr. I added that.
What?
John Williams tonight with us. So give it up for John. Give me a high five. All right. I throw that in to throw him off, y'all. Okay, we have John Williams with us. And one of our motivational saying is, life is a change. Growth is optional. And he's going to tell about his life, how he got started in his business, and how to buy a home. And 60 Days or Less with Zero Down is the book that Mr. John Williams has written. And we're going to get in his business tonight. Okay, Mr. Williams, since this is my first time meeting you, and you're such a handsome young man.
Thank you.
Are you married?
I'm not married.
Woo, he's not married, ladies.
Single ladies.
But I've been married for 37 years, so I can't get you. Okay, Mr. John Will, we're going to have fun. What we want you to do tonight is just tell us a little bit about yourself. What is your passion? What makes you tick? What makes you get up in the morning and run?
Go. Right? Like that? Well, I started real estate at 19, and I grew up in a single family household.
Okay.
And finances weren't discussed much in the household because my mom was extremely hardworking and she just didn't have time. Someone had to make the money.
I can understand
So
that.
I grew up taking care of my two younger brother and sister. And with that, got into real estate early and just found my way. And when my mom finally passed her RN license and decided that she wanted to purchase a home again after divorce, I realized that she was being stereotyped.
Okay, what do you mean by stereotype?
Stereotyped, well, I don't want to say where I'm from. I don't want to put everybody on blast, but in my hometown, after when she decided that she wanted to purchase a home, the people that she was working with couldn't relate to her, and they just didn't think that she had the money to do so. Before I got into the industry, the homes that they were showing her, thinking that she couldn't afford a nicer home, they kind of took her. Yeah, they took her to areas that weren't so nice, thinking that's all she could afford. And
because they look at us as, I'm gonna say it, black people can't afford a $300,000 or $200,000 home unless they
doing something.
Yeah.
So,
unless they selling drugs, or we just gonna be real. We always
be real.
Real.
Be real
on the show. We can't shake and fake with this.
We can't shake and fake.
You know,
because it's a real problem out there.
And how many siblings do you have?
It's a total of 5.
Five of you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But 3 by my mom, with my mom. So I was in charge of 2 of those. So I was like the daddy of
you like
of
a daddy at your age. You're so young. I couldn't mark the book up because it wasn't my book, but I did put paper. You see, because I want to know about Mr. John Williams. And I looked at this book. I said, John Williams, my nephew doesn't look like this. Oh, but it wasn't that one. Okay. Hi, John Williams in Houston, Texas. That's my nephew. Okay, so you said my shocking truth. Around the age of 6, after divorce between my parents, I grew up in a single family home where resources was limited. Okay? Mm-hmm. So now here you are. You said after my parents' divorce, when I was around the age of 6, my family moved to the big state of Texas, where we lived in one of my aunt's duplex. So being in real estate wasn't really whatchamacallit for you, because you grew up with your aunt here. You said Growing up in a hardworking family, I was taught that cash is king.
Right.
The almighty dollar is the king, huh?
Is the king.
Okay, which one? Was it the Benjamin or what?
Well, what I mean by that is, after my mom's divorce, we moved to Texas, and I put that in the book because a lot of people don't think of a home purchase as an investment. And it was only through my aunt's investments that we were able to start over and move here. When I think about it, it's crazy because I'll be turning 28 in January, and I'm at the age my mom was when she moved to Texas with 3 kids, single.
Wow.
Shout out to
Right.
mom.
Single ladies.
Hey,
She
Mom.
really was, right? Now you see how young she really was.
She really was.
it.
So she
Yeah.
had to have a 6-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 1-year-old, and to just come and start completely
All over.
fresh, all over. And through those investments, through my aunt, if we didn't have that, it could have been much harder for her to start over.
And it was nice of your aunt to allow you all to stay in one of her duplexes,
Duplexes.
right?
Right.
That was nice for family to help family out. So you said, fresh out of high school at the age of 19, I embarked on a journey to help families obtain home ownership by getting my real estate. So at the age of 19,
19. So let me tell you how that happened.
tell me how
So,
that
right.
happened. Come
So,
on, Mr.
right,
Williams,
that's
tell us how that happened.
That's not what I was thinking at 19.
19.
I
Well, I
know it, 'cause
wasn't
most people
either.
at 19 don't even have their head on
Yeah,
together.
my head was just all
No.
like this.
All that hanging
My head
out.
was just hanging over.
And your head is real too.
Y'all, she crazy.
So you had a lot of brain up there working.
Well-
I commend you at 19 to do this.
My I was doing I have a uncle who I look up to.
Okay.
His name is Myron Golden.
Hi,
And he's
Myron
Myron
Golden.
Golden.
And that's my other nephew name is Myron. Man, I tell hey Myron Harper. Okay.
That's your uncle.
That's my uncle.
Stop, I know him.
What? Okay, we gotta get back to the show, Kimberly. Y'all can have family reunion after. But that is something how you know people.
He motivated me.
Uh-huh.
He's the first millionaire in our family, and I grew up watching him.
A millionaire. Go ahead. Yeah.
So I grew up watching his family, and it motivated me. So I would tag along with him. I would go to his seminars. I would pass out papers at all of his conferences.
Was he in real estate too?
He wasn't in real estate.
Okay, he was in
Excellent
something. Okay.
motivation.
Well, I
that's
started
still
doing
good.
multi-level marketing.
Okay.
So I would have like these events at my apartment and
Look at
everything.
you.
Right. At 19, I'm having
Dang.
events at my apartment because I was a daddy. I had to grow up way sooner than what.
He talking about a daddy over here.
Oh, right, over my
sisters
sister and brother.
wasn't
All right,
I got no
okay,
kids.
no children, right?
No children.
Okay, that's what he talking about. Let's get it straight.
So let's get it. Don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted. He said he talking about sisters and
Great.
brothers.
That's right,
Okay?
sisters and brothers.
That is so
So
awesome.
yeah, I matured faster, and watching him, I had an aunt who said, "Oh, with your personality, you should get into real estate." And I was like, I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
First, I was like, I'm not trying to do sales. I need
Okay,
to know
okay.
my income. I need to know. It
Because
needs
you
to be
thought it was
predictable.
commission based or something like that
Well, it
for real
is
estate.
completely commission.
Okay, so it is okay,
110%. So
All right.
I didn't want to do that.
good. You know what? That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work.
That
Right.
is.
So with that being said, I got my real estate license. Well, actually, I was going to college, and I had
What college?
I went to a community college
Okay.
first. I had a 2-year scholarship.
All right.
So I had to graduate top 10%, and my mom said I was not going to put her in debt. So she wanted me to start off in the community, and I
don't
was very
blame you.
upset.
That's
with
good.
that. I was
That's
upset.
good.
That was good.
Right, I was
That
upset
good.
about
Go
that,
Mom.
so-
Go
Because
mom.
he worked
Because
hard to
I
get
worked
into
hard
university.
to get that GPA, and I thought I wanted to go straight to UNT to go to university. But God works everything.
That's right.
He works everything and brought it full circle because I changed my major twice. You know how
See?
that goes.
I would have been
Right.
mad too, because
Yeah,
that's
right.
a lot of money.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Changed my
Changing your
major
major.
twice, and in the midst of that, an aunt said, "Oh, you should get into real estate," and I was like, "Why not?" Got into real estate, tested it out for a year, and then I just kept doing it.
That's awesome.
19. Wow.
So are we? Oh, go ahead, Lynn.
Oh, okay, you say your aunt brought you guys down here, she helped y'all come to Texas.
So it was a separate aunt that got me into real estate, but my great aunt she actually helped move us down here, and we stayed in her duplex.
Okay, so she already knew about the property and how to buy and sell property, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
She had investment properties in Waco.
Oh, okay. So you had like an entrepreneur already there in the
Right.
Somewhat. I think it wasn't explained though. Although she had property, it was the information wasn't. It wasn't
Detailed.
detailed, right?
So just like
It was
go out there, just
informed.
get a house and
Right.
sell it.
Because it was the family I grew up in is when I say hardworking family, it's hard work. Just that hardworking family. I
Right.
got here by hard work.
Yes.
I mean, I don't have a detailed plan for you, but if I survive, you get out there, you make it happen for
Yes.
yourself.
Okay.
So
And a lot of people need to know that you can be successful at a young age.
Right.
That's a blessing.
Wow.
Okay, you said later in my career, it was brought to my attention that I should start hosting home buyers event. At these events, I would educate customers, give out a roadmap, and connect them with professionals that help get individual finances set up. People will receive clear action steps toward their dream of owning a home. Okay, let's talk about that.
So I started doing the home buyer seminars because, like I said, to go back to my mom, she was one of my first clients. I saw kind of how she was. Right. That was stressful.
That was stressful.
That was stressful, right? That was
Cause
stressful.
mom probably was picky, huh?
Yeah, right. But you know, I decided that there was a lot of
Okay.
misunderstandings.
Good.
You know, when you're buying something, you have so many people in your ear. Do this, don't do that. So I wanted to put something together to educate consumers so they knew exactly what they were getting into and how to prepare. So
And that's good. And I'm going through these pages because I was really I'm happy you sent this book. Because you know the Bible said I will have you not to be ignorant.
That's good.
And people get upset when you hear that word ignorant, but ignorant just saying you don't know. And so we want you all to know about how to buy a home in 60 days or less with zero down, so you can go in there educated, as we would
Yes.
say. And you said, why wait? Home prices are going up. Renting is expensive with nothing to show for it. Interest rate fluctuate. More people are taking advantage by investing in land and cashing out. So why wait?
well, that's one of the questions I asked in the
Okay.
seminar. What is it that's causing people to wait?
Okay.
We already know all those things, right? So in DFW, home prices have doubled.
Yes.
They've doubled,
Right.
and then there are people moving from other states, such
That's
as
right.
California
That's right.
and
Right.
Texas. Real estate
Right.
is extremely cheap.
It is.
You know, to compare it to California. And at one time it was cheap. When we look back over the last
Oh,
5 years, we
really?
say, "Wow, look what
Right.
home prices used to be." So,
You're
and then
right.
to mention the renting right now for 1-bedroom apartments, if you want to be in a decent
Nice
area,
area,
there's going to be
yeah.
$1,200 just for a 1-bedroom
Right. 12 to
apartment.
1,500.
Right.
You're right.
So it's like, well, at first, the first time home buyers thought I would think would be, well, you know, we have those all bills paid. Remember that back in the day?
Right.
We got all bills paid, or it's
We'll have some
it's,
of 'em.
it's you don't want to. It's not in a desirable area.
There you go. I was
Right.
just gonna say that. It's in
You don't want to be there,
like-
right? Yeah,
All bills paid.
duck and cover. So the thing is, it's like at first it was, well, I'm saving money, but now there is no money being saved.
No,
You're paying a mortgage.
That's right.
So with that being said, it's like, well, what's causing you to still wait? You know the prices are going up. You know the interest rates are changing. You know people are moving here and taking advantage. So what is it? You know that the rent you're paying is a mortgage. So what
that's
is
true.
it that's causing you to?
Well, see, a lot of time they think that is easier to pay rent because they don't want to get stuck into a 30-year or 15-year mortgage. So a lot
Right.
of, I was listening to the news the other day, they were saying that the millennials are not even trying to purchase homes at this point. They're still, still staying in the
Parents.
apartment because, or with their parents, you're right, or with apartments, or they're having, sharing that rent because they say it's easier to share 1,500 versus paying the 1,500. So a lot of millennials are not trying to get into that because I think it scares them when they hear, I'm gonna be stuck in this for 15 years.
Right.
I'm gonna be stuck in this for 30 years. Because when I bought my home, it was only $50,000, and that was back in
Right.
1984. It's paid off right now, but
That's
when
what
my-
cars are going for these days.
that's what I was at. My expedition cost me
Right.
$60,000 back in 2006. And I'm like, wow. So I'm imagine how much it is now.
Right.
But when you look at real estate back, even when I was growing up, the house that we bought was like $20,000, and that was high. My mom was paying $39 a month, and we thought that was high, in Kildare, Texas. But now you look at a home, 100,000, 200,000, 300, and then the million.
400.
And it is high because my husband owns a construction company. He does the custom stairs in these homes, and we went to look at one the other day, and it was a mansion,
Yeah.
and it has the air stairs in there. That house costs $1 million. That's a lot of money.
Well, I think
You know.
like when you mentioned millennials, I think it's just millennials and first time home buyers, period. You mentioned it being a big commitment, 30 years. Well, people don't realize that the average homeowner only stays in their house for 5 to 6 years.
So exactly.
You know, so the house that I even mentioned in the book, I'm selling right now, and it appreciated by $20,000 in a year and a half. So, and it was big enough to rent out every room, and I could have Airbnb'd it. I could have had roommates, but I can't have people in my personal space. So I chose not to do that. But I don't think people are looking at the different avenues that they could make money if they owned property.
That's true. That's true. And plus, you can write that off on your income tax. That's a good point. You can write your housing off on your income tax. So that's another good thing that you can do that. It says, sadly, as a renter, you have no control over rental prices, and the landlord make the adjustment determining how much of your check they get to keep each month. And I like this part. You said, did you know that there was a recent change in Texas law this year related
I
to
saw that.
landlord late
Wow.
fees?
Right.
Okay, that Senate Bill 1414 allows
1414.
for apartments to charge late fees of up to 10%
Right.
of
For
a
apartments.
tenant's monthly rate on apartment and up to 12% on single family home with no justification.
Right.
Isn't that
That was
wild?
just this year.
Dang, that's
right.
a lot.
So, right. Where did
That
come
is a
from?
lot.
Right.
Gosh.
That is the information that people need to know, because I feel, like you said, it's just easier to rent. Well, it's that apprehension and it's that fear of the unknown, and
Yes.
it's feeling like you're safe in a rental, not knowing that you're coming more out of pocket. You're at the mercy of someone else. They can
Yeah.
change your rent at any time.
Anytime. Especially unless you sign that thing saying they'll go to a year. And most time after a year, they end up adding it up, charging more anyway,
$30 more.
So you said you're already paying for someone else's mortgage, and that is so
That's
true.
true.
That is so true, because I was thinking about renting my home, and in my neighborhood, a 2-story could rent for $1,500, and the little 1-stories are rent like $1,350. And Linda know, because she called to see, and that is a lot of money, that you are paying out for that. So it is. What age do you think? I know you got yours at what age? When you bought it?
26.
26.
And it was
So
a 3,900 square foot home. It just wasn't a small home. It's 3,900 square feet, 4 bed,
bedrooms.
3.5
3.5
bath.
bath, 2 masters.
And what area is this?
Grand Prairie.
Oh yes.
Grand
Okay.
Prairie.
That's in
Right, right
Grand
off
Prairie.
Ohio.
Is that the new development?
Right off of Lake Ridge. Yeah, you around them streets.
I'm in Grand Prairie.
All right now.
What was your question,
Is
Linda?
that the new development in Grand Prairie, or is that older?
So my home was built in 2005.
Okay.
So it's
That's still new.
That's new.
2005.
I can smell the new.
Yeah.
you can smell it new.
Even if it is a used home, it's new to you, Mr. William. It's still new to
It's
you.
new. 3,900
So let
square
me ask you a
feet.
question. What's the going price for your 4 bedrooms, 3 baths? And how would they, be able to, your book say, in 60 days or less with
Zero down. So it just depends on the neighborhood and the area. School districts have a lot to do with it.
That's true.
Taxes have a lot to do with it. People don't realize that you can purchase a home for $250,000. You can also purchase a home for $235,000, and that house that's $235,000 could cost more a month than the $250,000 home because of your taxes and your
That's true.
insurance on the home. So if the home's older
But
enough.
if it's in the same area, the taxes and.
Well, it just
same?
depends on what the insurance is going for. But if you're, say for instance, you're in Fort Worth, you're in DeSoto, you're in Grand Prairie,
That
you're in
is
Fort
gonna-
Worth,
yeah.
the same exact house. Like my house is $40,000 to $50,000 cheaper in DeSoto than it is in Grand Prairie. The same exact
Because
house.
of the location.
Right, because of
Yeah,
the location.
The location.
Wow.
And if it's a new development, it becomes more expensive too. 'Cause-
Well, yeah, new
Yeah.
homes are more expensive.
Expensive,
so-
yeah. Because my husband contracts over in Viridian. You know where that is? in
Yes, I
Orland,
do.
Viridian?
Yeah, that's a beautiful community.
That
College.
is.
Yeah.
And they got all prices homes over there from millions and all that. And it really throws me off because on one street here, this house might cost 200,000.
Yeah, yeah.
Over here on this street, and then it also on the
does.
builder. The builder prices it because you got $1 million builders in there. Those are the bigger homes,
So
and
it
then
would
you
be
got
the
the other.
name?
Yeah, it's by the names
Of the builders.
and the builders and the price of it. So you're looking at, and I was looking at here, you said the hidden costs of renting and waiting. Should I buy now or wait until next year? You said now the interest rate could be 4.30.
4.3.
Percent on a 250,000. That could average out to like 1237 a month.
That's without the taxes included.
Well,
Right.
okay. So
That's how they say you online, with the super duper cheap,
Yeah.
the cheap payments to get you excited about buying a house. They don't have the taxes.
but they don't have the taxes.
Right, they don't have the HOA.
The insurance.
They don't have any of that.
All of that. So
Right,
they'll
that's
tell
how
you
they make
that
it
you
real pretty
excited.
for you.
And then you get there, you say, wait a minute, hold up.
That's not
This
what
is
you
what this said here.
Right.
Right.
Oh, but I didn't tell you about this.
Right.
See, that's how I
So
learned
you're talking
about it.
about hidden costs?
Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily
consider
hidden. They
It is if you don't know
right.
about
Well,
it.
they put it in fine print somewhere at the bottom
Yeah.
of the website, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But that just goes kind of into detail of what waiting costs because I'll hear a lot of times people say, well, you know what? I'm just going to wait to buy. I'm going to wait to save money. Well, in my opinion, the way that our market has been moving in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, how much money are you saving? Because if you are going to wait a year, that illustration shows the difference of what it could cost. Over a 30-year time frame, it could cost you $64,000 in this illustration, and then up to $2,000 yearly, just from a 1% interest rate change if
Right.
the interest rate fluctuated by once. So, as an example, I hear clients say a lot of times they'll get approved, they'll start looking at homes. The home they really like, let's just say, it'll be $10,000 more expensive. So they'll say, you know what God has for me is for me, and I am not
I'm
settling.
stepping out on faith.
Well, no, they say I'm not going to settle, and I'm going to wait until next year, and then I'll buy. Well, what I've seen happen is, they save their $10,000, and then the interest rate goes up.
Goes up.
Well, if the interest rate goes up, the price goes up, and the interest rate is one of the biggest determining
That's
factors
right.
of what that mortgage is going to be.
That's right.
So, or either the
Yeah.
home appreciation will go up, and people
Yeah.
not realizing that every $1,000 you spend towards the mortgage, that's about a $6 to $8 difference monthly. So it's like, well, the $10,000 you saved, did you really save it?
No.
Or did you just give it away? Right, you lost it. So that information is, to tell people, well, stop stop making excuses.
Yeah.
But they don't know it's excuses. That's why I feel like it's up to the realtor to tell them, educate them on all of the facts, all of the data and information to help everyone make
So this is what you
decision.
talk in your
Seminar.
seminar. You tell them all that good stuff like that.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
stuff.
How often do you have those? I
I have
saw you
them
had
every
one
month.
on the 7th of November.
Of November?
Or 27th?
I
I
had
missed
two
the
of
one
them
on
in
November.
November.
I missed
But
the
I
one in
do that. I try to do them every month.
You do?
So between Fort Worth, where is that? Well, it's really, what is it, Watauga? How you say that city?
You said it right,
Watauga.
Watauga.
Okay, look there, Arlington and Dallas. So I do those three different areas.
What's the cost for them?
The cost it's free.
Oh, it's free?
It's free.
So they can come and get
that's
educated
good.
for
They come and
free.
get educated for free.
That's not that you heard. It's free, y'all.
Free 99.
Well, it's not gonna be free because you gotta
$3.99.
drive out there. I'm just
Right.
playing.
Somebody got to pay for the gas.
Somebody gotta pay for your gas, but
Yeah.
he is taking the time out to
nice.
educate us on this because a lot of time we walk into the unknown and
Right.
don't know, until it happens. What about your credit? That plays a big part in it
Yes.
too. Your credit scores as well when
Right.
you're getting ready to purchase a home.
Well, that's another big one. So, as I did these seminars, like for instance, last year I had 400 people show up to the seminar. It was about 1,200 people signed up. 400. I thought I broke the internet. I was like, oh my goodness! Like everybody want to buy a house, so they want to be
Right,
informed. Informed. They don't want to be scammed or messed
Okay.
over. So when we talk about credit, I used to have specialists come and speak.
Okay.
And it's important to know in 2019, everybody's a specialist now, right?
Yes.
Everybody's a credit
Even if
repair
they not.
specialist, even if they're not.
They get that name.
Yeah, they get that name.
Like
Everybody's a
Cynthia's a
specialist.
specialist.
A specialist.
You are?
Tonight I'm a talk show specialist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right. I'm on here
you on the show
I
tonight.
got my designation. I'm officially a talk show specialist.
That's right.
Catch
And
it
you
on my
sounded
Facebook
good
post
too.
page. Yes,
That's
thank you.
right. But I like this here. You know, you said common credit myth. Number one, deleting all accounts will increase my score. Number two, you said all credit scores are created
Created equal.
equally. A car dealer credit company has the same scoring model as the lender. You can purchase a home with credit account in dispute. I learned a lot reading this book.
Hello.
And let me see how many more. You got a lot of them. So let's deal with
Okay.
the first one. You said deleting all accounts will increase. Let's talk about these
Some people told
myths.
me that does work,
Uh-huh.
but only works for a short period of time. Is that what
Well, it
happens?
just depends.
There
It
you go.
depends, right? There's no
Yes.
one formula for
There you
anybody,
go.
right? Let's
That's
just
right.
put that out
That's
there.
right.
Disclaimer: there is no one formula
That's
for
right.
everybody.
Thank
but I
you.
think what I want to get across to. So here's the passion behind this book,
Okay.
right?
Tell me. the
Right,
facts.
where's the
Tell us,
passion of
tell
where it
us,
came
tell
from?
us.
Because for a whole minute I thought that I was a freedom writer or something. I don't know. It's like I was, I don't know, right? So what motivated me was just honestly, 98.9% of my clients are minority.
Okay.
And with knowing that, we all know that African Americans account for the lowest home ownership rates in America.
Yeah.
We also have the lowest credit scores out of all nationalities in America. However, we spend a lot of money because we got to look good and we're going to look good because we work hard for the money and nobody's
Right,
going to
right.
take that from us, right? So
That's right.
with that being said, talking about credit, a lot of our loans are subprime, meaning we're paying way more money
You're
than what we
right.
should be for
That's right.
what we do own and we work hard for. When we start talking about, I mentioned the amount of people who signed up for the home buyer seminars because at first I put on those events to give back. I'm educating on, and that's why
good.
I wrote this book, and I actually shocked myself on how much I knew about credit because I made it my mission to dive deeper into understanding credit to actually help myself because for 2 years prior to the time I purchased my own home, I went to 5 different credit repair companies.
Okay.
I spent over $1,000 in credit repair, and guess how many points I got over 2
Two.
years?
Two.
About 5, 10.
I'm gonna say
You know,
yeah, because I've been through
But
that.
after
Yeah.
$1,000,
That's a
though,
lot
that's a
of
joke.
money.
That's a
Yeah,
scam.
I went through one of those.
So it
So,
doesn't work.
well, no, I'm not gonna say that.
No,
I ain't
it
say
just
that.
worked. No, it
Don't
just-
have them credit repair people out there.
No, it's just to work
What I
with
was
certain.
saying,
Yeah.
well, no, there is with any profession. There's people who do what they say they're gonna do. There's people who don't do
Do what
that.
they
what
say
they
they're
say they're
gonna
gonna
do.
So that's
You're
what I'm gonna
right.
say on that.
Right.
Yeah.
However, so I don't go off on a tangent. But I'm gonna say on that, it motivated me to educate myself
That's good.
because I realized that I was extremely uneducated. I was putting on these massive events where I was speaking on just my portion, which was the real estate and the process. I was having these credit repair companies come in and talk to people. I was watching people run to the back of the line, like to the back of the room after the seminar to sign up to enhance their credit. But credit wasn't getting enhanced. And I said,
Okay.
wait a minute, my name's on this.
That's right, so they gonna get
right,
you.
so they coming back for me. So I said, hold on.
Good.
Everybody in credit repair is cut from the show. Because if my name is on
That's
it,
right.
I need to make sure
Because I'm gonna
that
come after you,
everybody-
John
right,
Williams.
That part. So to
And
say,
the
to answer,
integrity, your
yes.
integrity is.
That's right.
I said, I don't want it. I don't want it. In credit repair,
That's right.
they paid the most to sponsor those events, but I let it go because I was like, absolutely not. My face is on it. So I educated myself, and to answer your question in short, because I feel like Steve Harvey. Never mind, I'm not gonna say that. I'm on live. Steve Harvey may be watching. So I love you,
Yeah,
Steve
he'll
Harvey.
be on my guest show one day.
But the thing is, with the disputes, people think, well, if I can do a credit sweep, if I can just get everything deleted,
Yes.
because we get excited. Oh, delete!
yeah.
They deleted
Delete,
something.
delete,
Right,
delete.
delete button.
Well, absolutely not. Because what if you delete positive history?
That's true.
You just got rid of positive accounts
That's
that
right.
you can't get back on
That's
your.
right.
So you don't want everything to be
That's
deleted.
right.
And then sometimes the deletions are the first step in the credit healing or restoration. So what it is sometimes, depending on the credit repair company,
Mm-hmm.
it's just kind of like what's the word I'm trying to? It's like a stalling tactic. because
Okay.
they know what the customer wants. They want to see action. They want to see things being removed.
Uh-huh.
Well, from the time that you pay a credit repair company, it's going to take at least 30 days because they have to
That's
send
right.
in that dispute
You're
and get a
right. Mm-hmm.
response. So to even try to take it off. But when we talk about the disputes, it's just important for people to
Yeah.
know, because I thought that credit repair was a magic, like somebody who, bibbity boppity boo, I'm gonna fix you. Like it's
Right,
just gonna
right,
happen.
right.
Like I'm hiring a lawyer and they are gonna, I just gotta
Yeah.
pay and step away. But it don't work like that. It don't work like that. It requires you as
That's
well as
right.
the person that you hired to, y'all have to
That's
work
right.
together to get it done. So I guess the common myth that I put in there, just to think that the disputes alone are gonna increase your score, it doesn't work like
It
that.
doesn't work like that.
But
And
people get
also,
excited.
you can go in and dispute yourself.
Right.
You can go in, because I've been able to go in and dispute things on my credit and got them taken off. Because if they can't prove it, they have
must
to remove it.
Hey, I see you,
Okay.
Ron.
Ah, you got it.
I see what you did.
But that's true. But a lot of times people think that, and you also said you myth 4. You can purchase a home with credit account in dispute. You said false.
You can't. So
You can't.
back in the day, I heard, because see, I
Yeah.
wasn't purchasing homes, and I was still in middle school when back in the day was happening.
Okay.
So
He was in middle
right, I
school,
was still
y'all.
in middle school, y'all.
I mean, he was little.
Little bow wow. Anyway, so the thing is with that, it's a falsified credit report.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's in dispute, it's not showing up on your credit report. So that's that temporary fix.
There you
A lot
go.
of people are like, oh, my score went up, and then immediately it dropped back
It
down.
dropped back down.
Well, when I talk about my mission, and it's
Mm-hmm.
to educate, for one, I'm not saying credit repair companies don't work. They
Right.
do work.
Yeah.
There are certain levels where
That's
you
right.
do need to go and hire somebody to do the absolute most
reset,
to
yeah. Mm-hmm.
help you reset. However, in my situation, personally, my first home was $340,000,
Mm-hmm.
and I the information that I was ignorant about, I didn't need credit repair. But nobody was educating me on where I
Okay.
was.
Okay.
And there's so many people. Like I just had an event last week where
Mm-hmm.
we raised the ladies' points by 88 points at the event by just changing a few things without credit repair. So in the book, it's not saying credit repair doesn't work or credit repair companies aren't legit. What I'm saying is educate yourself, because if you can save money, start with a foundation. You may be able to fix your own stuff. And then if you can't fix it from the basics and the foundation, then go and try to hire somebody. And then that's when you'll find out who really is a credit repair expert.
That's good. That's awesome. And you said if I pay off all of my debts, my score will increase. And you said you can pay a credit repair company to remove verified accounts. Credit Karma gives accurate scores. False.
Absolutely false, with a big
Are
stamp
you
of approval.
serious?
It's Credit Karma is more so for a credit card.
Yeah, credit
They're
cards.
selling credit cards.
That's what they're for.
That's
Yeah.
what they're for. It's inaccurate, like you read with the It's important to know when purchasing a home
That's
that
right.
a car dealer, they're going to have a different score than
That's
what a
right.
mortgage company
That's
is going to
true.
have. The mortgage company is going to have a different score than your consumer scores that you see online, because it's more heavily weighted. So with that, there's been many people that I've helped where they say, oh, because see, a lot of the people I help, they're extremely apprehensive. They're telling themselves all these different stories.
Yes.
From me, myself, I understand them because I was a realtor for 7.5 years before I believed that I truly can buy my own house. Right. So I'm selling houses, hundreds of houses, but I'm like, oh, I don't make enough. Oh, I don't qualify.
You talking
my
yourself
taxes
out
are
of
all
it.
over the place.
Yeah.
All these things.
Yeah.
So with that, it's like, well, oh, my score's too low. My first question is, well, where'd you check it? Oh, Credit Karma. You know what? I don't want to hear that. Let's check it out. And then a lot of times people are surprised that it's higher than what.
So you
Credit
go
Karma
through
shows.
all those three, TransUnion, Equifax, and whatever
Experian.
that other one.
Yeah, they were.
And Experian. So those
Right.
are the three that,
And the lender's going to take the mid score out of all those three.
okay, so they,
So whatever's in the middle, that's the one that they're going to approve you off of.
Oh, really?
hmm
So the
Okay.
middle score, is it normally
So if
okay,
you-
or is it,
So if you have 3 scores.
right?
If one score is a 600, one score is a 640, and one score is a 650, but I say 600, 640, 650, they're gonna go with the 640. Yes,
Oh, okay.
they're gonna go with 640 because it's the middle score between the 650 and the 600.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
what you get approved off of. But you have to have
that's
an accurate score to feel comfortable. In the story I told about in the front, like when I purchased my house, because I'm putting business out there because it doesn't matter, right? So because I can tell this because it was me. It's my story,
It's
and this is
your
what I
story.
learned. So I had a 580 credit score.
Okay.
And a 580 credit score after going through the credit repair companies, well, I had got the credit repair company over time, I got it to like 600. And I was super duper proud of that 600 score. I don't care what nobody said. I was proud of that 600 score. But the thing is, that was still not a great score, but I was proud of it. So I go to lunch and I'm depressed because I started tracking my score to know exactly when something's happening. I got an update that said I had a 580, and I'm like,
Wow.
all that time, I wasn't checking it. I had applied for a car and all, so it went down, and I decided to apply anyways with the lender to see if I approved for a home. This is how I bought my home. I
Okay.
called the lender. I stepped out on faith. I said, I'm going to call the lender, even though I know in my mind, on nobody's application and process, am I going to approve for a house? Because I do this every day. So why would I even try?
Okay.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. Why
That's
would I
good.
try?
I
I
like
know
that.
the guidelines. So
Yeah.
why am I going to try?
But you did it anyway.
So I called anyways, and I said, hey, Linda lady, like, this is me. This is me. She's like, you bringing me some clients? I was like, no, it's me now. And so we're talking on the phone, and I said, well, I'm going to apply for a home loan. I'm just getting ready.
This is his story.
I'm just getting ready. I'm not even prepared to do it right now because I had just bought a car. So I'm like, I know everything's not even adding up. So they say, okay, I'm going to check your information. I'm going to call you back in about 10 minutes. They called me back and say, oh, you're approved. I said, stop playing. They said, you're approved for $340,000. You can go higher if you want. I said, wait a minute, whoa. I don't want to go no higher. Who's going to pay for that?
And what credit score did you have?
At that time I had, what was my credit score? It was a 609. In the process of me,
So that 580 jumped to 609?
it was inaccurate.
Oh,
It was inaccurate.
Oh, so it was 609.
It was a 609, and I thought it was a 580. So that's why I'm saying that people count themselves out when they should go to the professionals, and then the
Right.
professionals can guide them. From the time of hearing the 609, they were like, well, only thing you have to do is pay down a student loan, which I was never going to pay off because somebody said it wasn't going to increase my credit score.
Yeah, you had that in here
Right.
too.
My credit score went up by about 68 points in the process of me purchasing my home.
And you still had the student loan too?
No, I paid the student loan off.
Okay.
See, I always had the money to pay the student loan off, but I was just told not to do it because it wasn't going to help because the student loan was a very baby. It was very minimal.
Because you have in the book that the student loan is going to be there and Sally Mae going to get her money.
Yeah, she want her money.
sure is.
She want her money.
Coming about
They're
the
gonna,
trade.
right.
Yes,
That's going to be in your debt to
Sally
income
Mae.
ratio. They're going to calculate
Sally Mae,
that.
So did you pay it out, your student loan all off in one lump sum?
You
or
ready for how much that student loan
How much was it? Can you tell us?
It was
50,000?
No.
Oh,
1,000.
30,000.
I told you I had a scholarship.
Oh, so your probably
Right.
one but 2,000.
It was, yeah.
$250.
It was
Right
real
around
small.
there,
It was like
okay.
17.
Oh man, you should have been paid that.
I know it.
That don't even
I
make
know
no
it,
sense.
right.
Now, I can see if you had a
But I wasn't gonna do it. You know when you do something, right? You know when you do something silly.
Yeah.
You do silly stuff. And I was like the past, but wait, y'all judging though. I see a lot of judging.
Judge you tonight. I'm the judge Elma tonight.
But you know what? That happens all the time.
I'm still
It's just not a student loan. It may be your first credit card.
That's right.
You know, it could be anything. You know,
That's
you'll be
true.
like, that's the past. I'm not paying.
I'm
I'm moving forward.
And then it hits you when you go get something. You say you got all these delinquent.
I'm moving
yeah.
forward. But
That
yeah.
was good though. So you went on and paid it off.
But it wasn't that alone that
Okay.
didn't cause my score to go up.
Okay.
I got a secure credit card, which I used my own money I put
Right.
down $90.
But
They
you
gave me
mentioned
$300
that was
limit.
good to do, though.
That was good to do
Yeah,
because
you
I
said
didn't
that.
have anyone
Yeah.
to help me establish my credit. I
Credit,
didn't have
okay.
anybody to teach me about any of these
Okay.
things. So while I'm spending $1,000 unnecessarily, I could have just paid the student loan off, got the secure card, paid my bills on time, and boom, watch the shoot up.
Look how much you've learned in
So-
doing that.
But you know, I
That's
believe
awesome.
that everything you go through in life,
That's
it's not
right.
just about you. You may be going through it so that you can help somebody else go and be built through their situations. And you know, all through a lot of different things. It's not all in
I
that
like your
book.
integrity.
But it's like I was taken through this situation so that I can be passionate. Now I'm passionate about
You
it.
are.
I'm passionate about it. And when people are told no, or I see other realtors who aren't doing the due diligence to ask the right questions. Because
Right.
people will call consumer, they don't know, and they will say,
Right.
I've had so many. And then when I talk about African-American home ownership and how low those rates are, if you're not asking the right questions, you're talking to an African-American family or couple on the other end who is denying themselves. You should be able to ask the right questions and say, well, where'd you
Right,
check
right.
it at? How do you know? Where's
That's
this information?
good,
And
that's
lead
good,
them,
that's
so
good.
then they can, people are blown away when they find out, like I was,
Right.
that they can do it. I'm like, oh yeah, you can buy a house. They're like, wait, what? I just saw one of the people in the book.
Yeah, I
They
like
were
the testimony.
in the back. It was a
Uh-huh,
couple.
I'm looking
They
at
just sold their house. They made $80,000 off of it. And when I approved them, they didn't think that they could buy a house. Their home, they sold their home. So
Callahan.
well, no, look, see, it's a lot of people in there. It
Well,
is
you
the
got-
Hall family.
The whole
Yeah,
Right.
but you know, I want to ask you this before we get to these beautiful testimonies.
All right.
I know.
What about a person that's self-employed? You know, cause see, when we was buying our house, my husband was self-employed. We had to go through everything to try to find all the records
Right.
and all of this stuff. So what advice could you give to a person that's self-employed, running his own business, and they're trying to buy a home?
Make sure you
and-
don't write everything off. Because you can't write everything off because they have to take
Good.
the average of the
Okay.
last 2 years.
Okay.
So of course there are loans out there where you can take a higher interest rate. We can do just stated income. However, you're going to have extremely high interest rate.
Okay.
But if you want to, do a government issue loan, an FHA loan, or do one of the home buyer programs that allow you to buy a home with $0 down, then it's like, well, okay, you have to make sure that everything averages,
Okay, so what
Between
you're
the last
saying,
2
don't
years.
write everything out. Boy, I'm smart.
Don't write
Okay,
everything
yes,
off,
I don't write everything
'Cause
off.
it'll get you.
Because you got to show that you're
Yeah, that
getting
you're
some
making the-
profit,
right.
that you're making the
Right.
money. So I'm doing good
You
on
have to.
that.
Let me
That's
ask-
awesome. Go ahead.
Let me ask a question. You say in 60 days or less.
With zero down.
down. Okay, when you say 60 days or less with zero down, what income are you speaking of? And if your credit has to be very well, and would it be a first-time buyer?
You're considered a first-time buyer as long as you haven't purchased in the last 3 years. So,
good.
right, within the last 3 years. A lot of people don't know that.
Wait a minute. So you saying since I haven't purchased a house
Within the
in
last 3 years.
You're a first-time
yeah,
buyer.
so I'm still considered first time
Yes,
buyer, even
ma'am.
though I'm about
When
to
you
pay
sell
my
that house, when you sell that house, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Ooh-wee.
And a lot of people think too, this is a very big myth, and I didn't even count it
ahead,
as a
tell
myth in the
us.
book. But a lot of people think when they hear that, they say, oh, that must be an assistant program. I make too much money. I can't qualify for that. Well, you can make up to like $97,000 and still qualify for the assistant programs. So because you have the state issued programs and you have the local programs.
Okay, what is the local and the system?
So the
program?
local programs are going to, they require you to make less. You have to make less. So they set the
I'm
bar of
good.
how much you can make
I'm in that.
locally, right? But the state programs, they allow you to make more money and still qualify. So it's really either or. You can go either direction. So whichever direction works best for you. My mom, for instance, she did a bond program where she didn't have to pay the money back. She took a slightly higher interest rate, but it worked in her favor because she had 3 kids. She wasn't going to be able to save up the money for down payment and closing costs. Where in one ear, someone who was saying, well, you should save up your money. You're going to take a higher interest rate. Why would you do that? She had to do what was right for her her pocketbook at the time.
Right.
Now she has over $100,000 in equity in her home, whereas if she would have never done that, she would have never purchased a house, period.
Right.
So the benefit of using that program in her situation outweighed any of the cons for her in her life. So that's why it goes back to when to answer your question, you have those state and local programs available to you. You have the VA program where they don't have to put any money down. You have USDA loans where
Yeah.
it's in rural areas where they want to get people to move out there. So they're offering $0 down. And outside of that too, new construction. New construction
Yeah.
deals, like you can get your closing costs paid, $0 down, a 2.99% interest rate. There's all kinds of things available.
Yeah.
Because money can be finessed. Depending on who's lending the money,
There you go.
you can make up I'll make up a I'll get you out your lease program if we can rebate it and make it make sense in the contract, you know. So all things, there's a program and there's a loan for everyone in every different situation.
Wow.
So I think I just specialize in thinking outside the box. Because your average realtor is going to say, oh, I know what he's talking about. He's talking about USDA, VA, and a program. They're forgetting a few of them.
Wow.
Because they're not thinking outside of the box.
Wow. We're going to take a sponsorship break right quick.
Thank you.
Reach your next event with the Kirk Booth Photo Booth. Check us out at www.thekirkbooth.com, where the CEO is Emmanuel Kirkwood, 214-210-8562. I guarantee you, once you rent the Kirk Booth, your memory will always live. All right, back to you, mister.
Oh, snap. I thought the curtains was going to go up. We were going to be like, all right, take 5. Okay.
Okay, so this hour is going fast. And I notice here that you have a lot of people in your book that talks about Meet the Jackson, how they went into bankruptcy.
Oh, yes.
So
the
you can
Jackson.
go into bankruptcy and still get a house.
Yes, you can.
Wow. Does bankruptcy, now I was told when you bankrupt, it clears all your credit.
Well, it
let
just depends
go.
on one. You're doing
Okay.
a chapter 7 or chapter 13.
13. Okay, let's see which one.
Don't let me get too deep into the details because I'm going to be real with you. I talk about what I know.
That's
And I
it.
leave the extra stuff and I'll go and find the answers for
Okay.
you on that. So I don't get too deep into the
Okay.
chapter 13
Right.
and the chapter 7, but I want the people to know in the book that it is still possible. So don't
Okay.
count yourself out.
Even though you have a bankruptcy, don't count yourself
Don't count
out.
yourself out.
Really and truly, don't count yourself out on anything. Just try it.
Right.
Then you got this other one where they was on their journey to get them a house and the rent was going up $100 and they didn't think, I guess, that they could get a house either, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how are you helping them with?
So it's just a lot of different ways. Knowing my contract, there's upfront fees. Like some people will also see the title of the book and
They get excited. 'Cause I
they
would
get
too.
excited.
In 60
Ooh.
days or less, I had to go get me a house with 0 down.
Yes.
Hey! Oh, thank you. And then you said this family actually received money back
Yes, actually.
at closing, and we negotiate their closing. So you can even go back.
And get the
Get
money back.
closing.
Right.
This is exciting. This is like McDonald's. You get some money back.
What? They give the money back at McDonald's?
A shout out to my sister that owns her McDonald's and he used to say, hey Mary, we love you. McDonald's, go out. But I'm a Whataburger fan. But anyway, she
snap.
said it.
But they
Okay,
okay, see you smile though.
Yeah, so they actually get money back in closing.
So and that all just depends on how you negotiate the contract.
Do
So,
you help them with that or?
I do help them with that. So
Okay.
with negotiating closing costs or either some of the upfront fees that are associated with the initial purchase. Like, you have your earnest money, option money, all
Okay.
those different things where you can get it back at closing. But
Okay.
depending on how you structure the contract,
Okay.
we can reduce those fees so that you can get it back.
So let me ask you this. If I was getting ready to buy a house and I walked into your office, I'm calling him Dr. House Williams, selling all
Dr.
this
House
good stuff. Okay, I'm walking into your office and I'm looking to purchase a house. I don't know anything about this. Is it a long road from the starting to the beginning? To the ending of me purchasing a home? How would you address that to me? How would you?
Well, it just depends on how soon you need to be in the house.
Okay.
ASAP.
ASAP. So what that would look like is you would come in and we would get you on the phone with the lender. The lender would go through and see what type of home buyer incentives you qualify for, what type of loans is best for
okay.
you. From there, we would sit down and we'd do a buyer's consultation. So the first thing is speaking to the lender, see what type of program, see what type of loan is available for you.
Okay.
After we know that information, now I sit down and I put my expertise and my secret sauce on it. And we figure out what your needs are, your wants are, where you want to be, what's important to you. And from there, we devise a plan, put together a plan of action to go out and start looking at homes. Because as I mentioned before, with the taxes in the different areas, those can play a factor on how much you're paying a month. So we want to make sure that I understand your budget so that before we start driving around the DFW area, we know exactly what that budget looks like. So if, say for instance, as an example, you're approved for 250.
Okay.
Well, if I know you say, depending on how much you say that you feel comfortable paying a month,
Okay.
from that 250, I may be able to find your house that's 255 or 260. Now you're thinking in your head, John, I told you not a cent over 250. I got a budget. Well, this is
Okay.
where the expertise comes in
Comes
because
in.
if I have my lender run the numbers, what I'm gonna do is you're gonna know exactly how much you're estimated to pay before we go and look at the house. So I don't want any
okay.
surprises because I don't like
Okay.
surprises when I buy
Okay.
stuff.
I hear you.
So then that way you may be selling yourself short by just looking at the 250, where you can go up to 260 if the taxes play in your favor. So then that'll mean
Then
with
your house though this
we're still
same.
staying in the same because what you want is the same payment. So we'll go over that consultation, go over your needs and wants, make sure all the numbers make sense, make sure you know the entire process. Because there's been so many times where I've worked with people who may have been through 3 and 4 realtors before they got to me. And when we do that consultation, they say, "Oh, nobody ever told me about this.
That's right.
Nobody told me about this." And you
Yeah.
know, when you don't mention it up front, it's a lie.
Yeah.
Somebody lied to you because they did not tell you about a certain fee or something that was going to come up. So we want to make sure all expectations are set, and then you know what you're getting yourself into. Then we can just find the house, and it makes it go by much sooner.
Okay, I was reading here where you said in your book, well, they was, I guess this is Meet the Milburns, okay, from that year, we set a goal to purchase by the year 2020, which is next year. Our goal was to pay off all of our debt, and from there, we would search for our next step. Since we were not approved for a home for the first year in 2016, we had to figure out a plan to get out of the situation we were in. So when they walked in to do the consultation, they told them that they weren't approved to get a house, or
So they
how
weren't
did that
approved
go?
at first.
Okay.
So they had met with another realtor and another
Okay.
lender, and they denied them. It's so
Okay.
important for people to know that just because you're denied once
Okay.
doesn't mean you should stop.
Good. Okay.
I always advise people to at least talk to 3 different lenders. Because what one person may say no to, someone else may say yes to.
Yes, okay.
It's in, like I speak of in the book, when in the finance part, it's important to know that different lenders have different overlays. Overlays are different things that they will allow,
Okay.
qualifications. So for instance, FHA may require you, let's just say, a 620 score. Well, that company may say, well, you know what, we don't want to take 620 scores because that's high risk. So we want all of our people to do 640 scores. So
Okay.
because of that, you may have just been denied, thinking, oh, I'm not good enough.
Okay.
So whereas that's
Yeah.
not the actual rule, it was just that bank or that lender's rule.
Let me ask you this. What if a person is at the age of 60 and they want to buy another home? Do you think their age would not stop them from buying a home?
You can buy a home at 60. 60 is the new 50.
That's it. That's out there. I'm talking about Ohio, man.
Oh,
But
wait,
you
what
are
happened?
right.
Did I miss that? Am I sleepy? What time is it?
But you're right. My sister bought her house in her 60s and everything. And so I was just wondering about that. Does age stop a person from purchasing a home?
It could.
Okay. What
I mean-
would stop them from buying a home at that
I mean, they
age?
may think that they're too old to
Okay.
purchase a home. Why would
Okay.
I purchase a home now? I'm 60.
be
Yeah.
here.
You know, I
Because
won't be
60
here.
and 30, they look at 30, I'll be 90 something. But you can still purchase a home at that age, right?
can.
Okay, so that should,
Why not?
don't let that
Why
be a
not?
problem for you
Right.
and stuff. Another thing too, when you turn at the age of 65, they give you, what is it? Your taxes decrease.
Right.
So that would also
Exemption.
help. Yeah, the exemption. Because I tell you, I'm so glad my husband made to 65 because our taxes, 65 is good, honey. I'm glad he made 65. But when we got our taxes, man, they were 2,100, and I'm like, really? But through his exemption, they knocked off almost $850.
Wanda did it, he did it.
I would have
Wanda
shot
did
my
it.
wig came off. So there are exemptions for you to still think about buying a home and everything.
Wait for Keith
Um,
to turn 60.
The fixed rate, okay, when you buy a home, you have fixed rates and then there's some other rates that I think they have. So you already got your mindset on a certain, your monthly income for that house.
Right.
But then within 6 months to a year, it increase your
Well, no.
increase.
So you're talking about adjustable
Right.
rate.
Those
So-
balloon
Right.
things, yeah.
So, and there's, like I said, there's a program and a loan for everyone. I've heard
That's
those
right.
work great for people. The thing is, I think when that happened or when people experienced that horror story, they didn't understand what they were involved
I
in.
can
They didn't understand
talk
it, so
on
that's
that.
why I was like, "Oh my God!" They weren't ready.
Yes.
But right now, it's people are doing fixed rates. So the only thing that's going to cause your mortgage to go up is your taxes.
That's
and if
right.
your taxes go up, that's a positive thing because your
Property
your
value.
property value has gone up. But that isn't always true. So there's times where you can challenge the taxes in the area. Only thing you have to do is call a reputable realtor.
That's right.
Being me.
That's right. Call
me.
John Williams.
And then we can see if we can put together some comparable homes in your neighborhood to see so that you can take that down to the tax office and have your taxes lowered.
That's true. And I was a victim of that. When we
The
first
arm.
bought our home, that balloon payment, oh, it was real low when we first got it. But
Surprise.
oh man, by what 3 or 4 years that long went from like 6 to 800. I wasn't expecting that, but what we did, we ended up getting a FHA loan for 15 years, and it went down. We got a fixed rate, and it was like 5% at that time. That's when my credit score was like 800. Then I was young and didn't know didn't know nothing about interest, so I didn't get into that stuff. But anyway, our time is almost up.
Oh, really?
I told you that time go by fast. See, in his book, I called him Dr. John Williams.
Dr. House.
Dr. House, not the Dr. House on the TV, but Dr. John Williams. How to buy a home in 60 days or less has a lot of good information. Where do you purchase your book?
You can go to www.johnwilliamsbook.net.
Okay, is it on Amazon or?
It is on Amazon, but
Okay.
don't go to Amazon, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because
Okay.
Amazon is gonna take 59% of my profits,
Okay.
and we want to be able to take this money to be able to give back.
Okay.
So to be able to continue to do my home buyer events, because they're free to the
Yeah.
public, but they're not free
Free
to
to
me.
you,
So
okay.
somebody's got to pay for it.
How
right?
much are your books?
My books are $25.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Does that include tax?
$25 including tax.
Okay,
Right.
$25, not $24.99.
I know, tell them how they can find you.
$25. Okay.
And you can also find me on Facebook at Elevation Realty Group.
Okay.
Or
Elevation.
Instagram, Elevation Realty Group _DFW.
So if someone wanted to come to one of your trainings,
Mm-hmm.
how would I find you? Would it be the book
It would be
website
on my Facebook page, the Elevation Realty Group.
And there are a lot of questions in the book that he put answers to, so you can go in and get the book and read the questions that he have answers to. How long did it take you to write this book?
I wrote this book in a month.
Wow, with all this information? That's
know,
why I
it is-
call him Dr.
listen.
John Williams.
Dr. John.
Yeah.
Wow.
Listen, it is amazing what you can do.
Dude, yeah.
It's amazing what you can do when you set your mind in a time frame. I was up to 6 o'clock some nights. See, when you put it out there, you've got to perform. So not only, like, I helped 7 families the month I wrote this book. It was a busy month. I sold my home, put my home under contract the month that I wrote this book. But it's when you know the information, it just
It's easier to.
that's why I said I was surprised. It just came right off.
Your
So
complete
who are these?
roadmap. Wow.
Who are the people you have in here?
So these are my preferred lenders. John
Okay.
Muhammad. Me and
Okay.
John Muhammad have we've helped about 30 families this year get into homes. So
Okay.
that's
All
one of
right,
my
John
top
Muhammad.
loan officers. And then you have
Okay.
the mortgage wizard, Tony is
Okay.
Frank.
Okay.
These two people, the reason I work with them is because they care about their clients and they're going to
Good.
go the extra mile to make sure that they've tried everything to get you approved.
Okay.
So they're not going to give you a generic answer on your approval.
Oh,
And then
okay.
I have a bilingual loan officer, Rolando
yeah.
Leary, in the back.
Rolando.
Right. So I'm going to also have this book transcribed in Spanish.
Oh, that's gonna be nice. Yeah. That is awesome.
Hola.
Como se-
Taco bueno.
What? Dice, ¿cómo está?
Si, senor. Oh, no, what? But anyway, we have had so much fun with, I call him Dr. John House Williams. So if you want to know anything about purchasing your home, come to one of his seminars, and you can get that information again at what website?
Elevation Realty Group on Facebook.
Okay.
Elevation Realty Group. There'll
We
be a nice
always
brown
like
skin button on
to
there.
give a shout out to our YouTube and Facebook. What would you like to send off before we close out? What advice would you give a person looking for a home?
I'm gonna say always get a second opinion, whether it be loan officer or realtor. And that's with anything, right? You have to have a second opinion.
Just
You
like at
don't
a
know-
hospital, doctor, you
Right.
go to
You
them,
don't
get
know
a
if you're
second
getting the
opinion.
best. And then don't settle.
Okay.
Don't settle. Oh, there's one thing that I want to make. Are we done? Are we
No,
almost done?
no.
Oh, I
Go
thought we
ahead.
was running out of time. So I was
yeah,
about to
we
get
got
pulled
about
off
2
stage like
minutes.
Apollo.
Okay, what's the name? Kiki, come on, Kiki. Okay.
Well, another thing with this book, so I'm having my book launch charity event, January 19th.
Yeah, that's right.
And one thing that I want to do with this, with the proceeds from the book, is I want to be able to give back to financial literacy for high school students.
Okay.
Because growing up, I went and spoke at a few high schools, and I realized that when I went to the high school, I realized, oh snap, that was me. Like I didn't have direction. I didn't have, we were getting ready for college, but
Right.
college is important, but there's a lot of financial information that's not being taught.
Right.
Right.
So credit is number one. Like I said, the credit is king in America. Like to understand and know that, especially for the for minorities, because if you're going to pay for it, there's so many people that I help purchase homes who have crazy, ridiculous student loan debt. And that
Yes.
student loan debt is being calculated into the
That's
debt to income
right.
ratio. So some people,
Right.
they have these degrees, they have so much student loan debt, they
Right.
still can't get what they want.
That's
And
right.
you know, when you've gone to school and
That's
you've
true.
worked that hard and you're
Right.
like, I
And those-
still can't get what I want.
That's right.
I want to be able to go into high school, speak to juniors and seniors to help them prepare to be able to
That's
say,
good.
this is how you cannot overpay for every car like I did. Like this is how, right? This is
Yeah.
how, 'cause you know those things that probably
That's
all of us right now on this
Yeah.
panel, this panel have experienced, but we had to experience it in adulthood.
Right.
It's like, oh, I
And
know
then
that
we
now.
share.
That's of course I know
Yeah.
that, but you
Boss
don't know
sense.
that before you step into the real world,
That's
unless
boss
your
sense.
parents or
Right.
you know, and
telling
a lot of minority families, it's only a single family.
That's
So,
right.
you know, it's not the same makeup as what it used to be with mom, both
That's
father and
true.
mother. So
That's
it's just hard, and I want to be able to give the proceeds back at this charity event, so then I can go and donate those books, and go and speak to, the juniors and seniors
That's good,
to help
yeah.
prepare
That
them for
is
that.
awesome.
Dr. House Williams.
Yeah.
When my son was getting ready to graduate from high school, he started getting applications for credit cards.
Mhm.
And you like, okay, you don't have a job, so how you gonna do credit cards?
Mhm.
So I think they snagged the kids going into college and all that about credit cards, and so that's a good thing to go
Yeah.
and talk to students
And-
about that.
And we're gonna probably have you back on the show too
Yeah.
after you go into those schools and pray that you make it through the schools. So, but anyway, our time is running out, and don't forget. Our sponsor, rent your next event with the Kirk Booth Photo Booth. Check us out at www.thekirkbooth.com, where the CEO is Emmanuel Kirkwood, 214-210-8562. If you would like to be one of our sponsors on the Talk of Life Talk Show with Elma, please inbox me on Messenger, and I will be more than happy to do a sponsorship commercial for you. All right, tune in. Thank you, Dr. House, John Williams, for sharing so much at such a young age. And we really are just so blessed to have met you. And this is one I didn't get to meet, Kimberly, so I give you all the credit for bringing Dr.
just
John
had to
in.
trust her, But huh?
Yeah, I had to trust her.
already knew
And then he already knew my son, Emmanuel. So thank
All the
you
family.
for taking the time out. Stay tuned for the Talk of Life Talk Show with Elma. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're here this year, 2019, every Monday at 7 p.m. And we're looking forward to 2020. If you want to be on the show, inbox me. Because if you're brave enough to come on the Talk of Life Talk Show like Dr. House John Williams, hey, come on the show. It's about to close out. Thank you, Dr. John.